how not to ruin your Warhammer models.
I think the fear doesn't necessarily translate to actually doing the painting. I think it's doing the painting and not being confident in what's going to happen on the model.
It's so overwhelming. I've got so much to think about. I've got to make sure all the little bits are off. I've got to make sure it fits in the right way. Then I've got to do this and I've got to do that. I've got to make sure I've got the right brushes. I've got to make sure I've got the right paints. It's a lot to think about.
I think that's one of the biggest fears that painters have.
Especially because of the cost involved in buying models.
This might be a bit controversial. I think you should spend a decent amount of money on at least one. Hello everyone and welcome to Paint Perspective episode 116. In this episode we're going to be talking about how not to ruin your Warhammer models. All that later on in the show, of course, hobby hacks, and we're going to be doing our roundup of our monthly painting challenges. But first, Paul, you're actually back again.
I know,
Can't get rid of you.
I know. I was expecting some sort of podcast break, like you sort of come out and then disappear into the shadows again for a few weeks, and then I'm sort of
like
wheeled back in everything.
The proverbial painting whale, surface for a bit of oxygen, then disappear into the depths.
I am the white whale, aren't I?
The proverbial painting whale.
Yeah, I don't know. That was off the cuff. I don't know where that came from.
I know what you meant.
We can tell it's off the cuff.
Yeah,
Normally,
that's fine.
You don't really need to caveat that normally.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's from Moby Dick, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Get a bit of everything on this podcast.
I know, right?
Yeah. On that note, I've before we go any further, I wanted to bring to the episode something. I just want to say, like, to the viewers and to listeners, I take the feedback on board. Now, a couple of episodes ago, we done a painting challenge, didn't we? But buy a painting setup for £50. And look, I'm willing to take it on the chin. My list probably wasn't the best. Okay, I can still paint the model. Joe didn't have brushes. However, a lot of the comments kind of read that, like, you should actually get the things and try the things. So I did. So what I decided to get.
This is off script, by the way. I don't know what's coming out.
You'll remember Status Home Care. I went and bought a lot of the things. Obviously, there were some Temu links. Weren't going to be buying that, and we don't advise that you go and do that. I've done research now. I will never be buying from Temu or Alibaba ever again. Not that I bought from Temu, but there you go. But Status Home Care, they're UK. I can firstly confirm the cans arrived very quickly. Okay.
Oh, is this the spray can?
This is the £2. Excuse me, while I just double check the price in case it's changed. £2.48 now. It's gone down. I think a bit of publicity has helped.
Wow. Not 2p off.
We have got the Auto Extreme Matte Black spray can. And
extreme.
And it's extreme. And I've tried it on some sprue. So I can confirm that it's definitely not matte black. It has a tiny, tiny bit of sheen on it. But for £2.48, it's not too bad, actually. I got 2 cans, so I spent less than what you would pay for a single can from any other.
How much was postage, James?
Postage was
£50.
No, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't the total postage for the whole entire list that I provided. I think it was a couple of pounds. So probably for 2 cans of Auto Extreme, you could get and postage you could get for one can. So it was actually all right. I tested it on the sprue. And it performed admirably, I might say.
Admirably.
So
Let me have a look at this.
And I'd also like to point out,
James, this looks dreadful. What's he on about?
It definitely doesn't.
He shook it for about 10 seconds.
Yeah,
so perhaps
I
that's
may
the
not
fault.
have shaken it that much.
Yeah.
You can.
It looks
I'm so excited to use
I
it.
was so excited. Yeah, but I might also add that at the time of recording, when we done the lists previously, there were 96 units available on the Status Home Care website.
Now there's 94, right?
Yeah, well, I bought 2, and now there's 89. So clearly, other people have been buying it and trying it. So yeah.
God.
But
you've got cars that need it.
Yeah, maybe potentially. Yeah, but I definitely think. I mean, is
that all you bought?
I've just bought that at the minute. I've just bought that.
I'll tell you why. Because if you buy anything you buy from Temu, you probably just going to get a photograph of that object.
Joe did mention that you probably get a photograph. To be fair, I mean, you said this isn't good, George, but it has got a nice sheen on it, and it is smooth, and you can, even though it's a bit of sprue, like all the details, even the little Warhammer hammer thing on the corner is really crisp and covered well. So
you're skipping the part where some of it is satin and some of it is matte, and it looks splotchy.
But it's an undercoat. It's an undercoat. You're going to put another colour over the top. All that matters is that paint can bond to it.
That's mental.
And for £2,
I'd rather not use any
£2.48, I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
I'd back it. It's not bad.
But let's just, as a caveat to that, right? The matte parts will be fine, but all the slightly sheen parts, the hydrophobic, so any paint you put on there, it's just going to slip right off.
That has not been tested yet.
Well,
But
I don't think you need to test that.
I wanted to try it because for £2.48 a can, I was impressed. It could have been a lot worse.
I had such low expectations, and you've managed to not hit them.
I would, even if I spray with that, I would then go over with AK Black anyway with a brush.
Potentially, yeah.
So
but
maybe it's not too bad.
I don't think it's that bad for £2.48 a can.
If you're on a budget, why not?
If you're,
I really thought. Did you think he was going to get out the whole kit?
No.
When he said
Yeah,
this,
no, I thought there might be more than just that.
I mean, I haven't. There may be a couple of other things in the post, but
I did watch that video.
I'll report back when they arrive. So yeah.
Stay tuned for episode 200 when James finally gets his brushes.
Yeah,
gets a lit package full of photographs.
Yeah. But I thought I'd bring that to the episode because I wanted to acknowledge what the viewers and the listeners said, and I wanted to try it. And I don't think it's that bad. I think that...
I'm not sure that counts as acknowledging it. I think that the idea was you buy the whole thing and then you paint an
I'm drip feeding it. I'm doing a little bit at a time, and then you get a little bit of extra value every single episode. So there you go.
He's done, the Hatchet Part Works where you get the kill team, the combat patrol over the course of like 6 months.
You'll get a bit each week.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Every 2 weeks. Yeah. It's going to get more expensive as you go along.
I can confirm, however, I will not be ordering the violent drill. I do not need that. And
I love the idea is like issue 1, just $1.99 plus $74.98 postage.
Well, you got some, so there you go.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it.
1 part out of 15 or whatever it was you ordered.
Yes, 100%. Have you been painting anything else, or are you still on a bit of a break from Mr. Space Wolf?
No, I've started my next project.
What is that?
Well, I did that thing where I didn't have a clue what to paint, so I got everything I owned out on the living room floor.
Yep.
And they did pros and cons for each one. And
that's almost a flex that it can all fit on the living room floor.
Well, I mean, I've only got a little small place anyway, but I mean,
double flex.
I went through everything, and I really want to do Captain Centos, but I might save that for another day. But so I've opted for Ghazghkull. I'm going to do I haven't painted an orc since about 1995, I think, something like that. So I think so at the moment, all I've clipped out of that box set is his face and the sort of the collar, his neck. And that's on one of those little shot glasses that you've given me in two parts. We're going to paint that first.
Good.
And and then worry about the rest later on.
So it's actually quite a big model, actually.
It is, yeah. That's why I thought. Looking at the build, his face is just going to disappear inside. So I just thought I'd do that first.
Yeah.
And then that little face can sit there
staring.
So
I literally think that's the only bit of green skin on it.
No, there's a bit of arm exposed.
Oh, actually, there is. Yeah,
there's a little bit here and there. So I thought,
not a lot though.
No. I thought it's not too bad not to worry about the rest of it now. I thought I'd concentrate on the face.
No. That face is quite a nice little sub-assembly on its own. When I painted my Ghazghkull, I done it like completely separate, and you can just sort of drop it in.
Yeah, well, I've got it nicely. Like I said, I've got them in 2 parts. I've got like the front of the face and the back part of the head with a tongue on it as 2 different pieces, and then I'll put them together. I thought I'm not going to be able to get in there and paint the tongue and all the mouth when they're together, so I'll just do it all separate. So yeah, that's what's on my table at the moment. He's undercoat, ready to go. He's all cleaned up, and just gets. Oh, and I put the base together and sorted out all the base because that's
quite a big huge base as well,
stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I decide which way I want to pose him because he can be posed
different ways, can't
slightly different angles, can't he? So
it's good.
Yeah. That's what's on my table.
Nice. James, you've done a little blog over the weekend, I know.
Yes, I've done another update on my Blood Angels. I've got a bit of a predicament with the squad that I go into more detail about on our Patreon and obviously in the post, the most recent update. But got to kind of choose whether a different avenue to go, which way I want to go. I'm kind of like got 4 of them made, and the last one's causing me a little bit of an
issue.
Not an issue, just more of a decision,
What is it with what you want to add on to it?
Yeah, no, as in like the 4th character or 4th model from the squads. Like, do I follow what I'm done previously and do like a new version, or like just some other bits and bobs?
There's a
couple of options. So
the brain cells have finally kicked in. I
had to have like a big purge in the hobby room, like literally it looked like my cupboards have exploded everywhere because I was hunting for parts and I'm chucking boxes out all over the place. You covered your floor. I covered everything in miniatures and I have got another update actually as well, something else. So I am de-racking my paint paint desk.
De-racking.
Yeah, that is an official term. De-racking.
De-racking.
I
Tracking.
currently use Hobby Zone, not sponsored or anything. I currently use Hobby Zone storage, so all the drawers.
So like the little MDF drawers
Yeah,
on your desk.
But the slanted paint holders, the ones that go on top or they sit on the top, they actually take up quite a lot of room for the amount of paint that you can actually put on them.
Yeah.
So I have bought a load of nail varnish, wall-mounted nail varnish things,
Yeah.
and
They all called me crazy.
I knew this was coming. I knew it would be
I've actually worked out that I can store probably all of my paint, as in like my general day-to-day paint, not my stuff that I don't put out very often, like the older paint. Just all my day-to-day core stuff that I use. I can put all of it on there, and I've got room probably for double.
Yeah,
what I've got.
This is my Wednesday corn red.
Yeah. No, because the thing is that you can get them, they're like 15 inches long, but I found some that are 24. And you get a 6-pack for 6 shelves that are 24 inches long, and you can get 150 paints on the 6 things. And I've figured out that I can put.
Are yours deep enough that you can go 2 rows, or are they
no,
shallow?
I think you can stagger them like almost like a zigzag in the tray. Yeah. So I think you can probably get like more than that in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm planning to just literally mount all of them. I've got a couple of these paintings, and then I've measured the space, and I think I can get 4, but I can get 8. So I can do 4 and 4. So that gives me like 300 paints on the wall.
Can I give you some advice for the acrylic shelves as a bit of a connoisseur?
I'm gonna drill them straight in the wall, mate.
That wasn't what I was gonna say. Be careful how close you put them to each other, because it can be quite hard to get like a dropper bottle out.
Put them too close and you can't
I've done that. I've done that before. Not even like you couldn't get it out, but it's like it's fiddly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want it to just be like,
because they're all, because the majority. The thing I'm planning is I've worked it out that on the top shelf of the 4, I can put all my Valleos, all my scale 75s, all of those on that top one. So it doesn't really matter about a shelf above it. And then on the 3 beneath, I can get all of my Citadel. Yeah. So, and you don't need as much of a gap because they're not as big, the bottles, are they? So,
I do a similar thing. I've like my overflow paints live on the shelf, but my like regular most used ones live on a desk rack.
Do you know the other good thing about it as well? Because they're really narrow and they just mounted directly onto the wall, where I've got the drawers, I've actually got a flat, like almost like a shelf now. Yeah. So it goes up from the desk, a shelf, then I've got the racks on the wall. So I've got, and I can, if I'm doing models, I can put the models on that shelf in front of me, so they're visually not on the desk as well. Yeah. So it's, I think I've not been using the space that I've got as efficiently as I should have want to use, basically.
Or
so
needed to now.
Or needed to, yeah. So I'm really keen. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
My setup isn't ideal at the minute, because I used to have a decent size like studio that I rented out, and then now it's like just sort of a sad little corner of my bedroom. So I try to maximize the use as much as I can, and I ended up having to get like an extra drawer unit that is now just. It started out so organized, and then now it's just absolute sin. So I need to sort it out again.
It quickly turns to chaos, doesn't it?
I love a good like a Sunday painting room purge. I don't know if that's an official term. We can make it that if you want. Yeah.
Lots of official terms being kicked around.
I know. Sorry.
In the preamble.
Yeah. But it was good. Yeah, I really good. Sort of like, it's so nice to just walk in there and everything be like away, clean, like completely like desk with nothing on it. Like, it's just really good. I don't want to disturb it at the minute, but I kind of got to.
But it makes everyone else in the household happy as well, I'm sure.
I mean, that door gets closed, you know what I mean? So
don't go in here.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no, it should be good.
If you're listening to this podcast, then there's no doubt that you're looking to improve your miniature painting skills. And what better place to start than to learn techniques directly from industry professionals with the Siege Studios Patreon. As a member, you'll gain access to our entire catalogue of masterclass video tutorials with exclusive content going far more in depth into painting techniques than you'll find on YouTube, hundreds of easy to follow step-by-step PDF tutorials, and the ability to get dedicated video feedback on your miniatures, so you'll always know what skills you need to improve next, plus tons of other additional benefits, all bundled for the same cost as just a few pots of paint. So what are you waiting for? Take the next step in miniature painting and improve your skills by heading to patreon.com/Siege Studios. So the topic this week is, of course, how not to ruin your Warhammer models. And this, I think, was triggered, in my mind anyway, from the episode that we did with Tommy Saul, which we referenced a lot. If you haven't listened to that one, that was a wonderful episode of the podcast, especially if you're new around here. I think that's some essential listening from us. But one of the things we spoke about in that episode was this common, rhetoric you hear about like fear of ruining models, not just from beginners, but even I think more intermediate painters as well. And I think largely it's wrapped up around in like the cost of the models being quite high, and the stakes are therefore quite high. And oftentimes people have certain like desires, I guess, because of their like love of the character and the model, and they don't feel that their painting skills maybe can represent the quality that they want that piece to have yet. So a lot of people, I think, kick the can down the road a little bit and think, oh, if I try some infantry units or whatever, and kind of savor it. But I thought we could have a conversation around that, and then maybe just some kind of general advice. I think for not just beginners, but anyone kind of fresher to painting. I know a lot of people aren't super keen on that part of the hobby, which is why there's a lot of pillars of the hobby which can suit different,
especially
walks of life.
I think that especially because of the cost involved in buying models, especially for newer to the hobby. I mean, I was like it when I first got into it. It puts you off trying different things as well, just in case you, like you say, muck it up and get it wrong, and you think, oh, I've wasted all that money on this, and now I've wasted 8 hours trying to do this technique or whatever, and it's turned out complete rubbish. And then, of course, then that sort of the snowball gets bigger, and it puts you off paint. It can put you off painting altogether.
Yeah,
maybe
I can definitely see that. It was. I mean, I've spoken about it several times on the podcast, but like when I was starting out in the hobby, for the first like year or two, especially, I definitely didn't have a lot of money to spend on stuff. So part of the process for me was always painting miniatures to learn, and then because I couldn't afford other ones, I would like strip them and then repaint them. And not necessarily because the paint job wasn't good enough, but that was the only way I could experience the thing that I loved, which is painting. That was the only way I could replicate that. I think it's one of those things for me where, like everything, like balance to a degree. Like I think sometimes that little bit of fear can actually be what pushes you to paint better than you otherwise might have.
What do you mean? Be more careful, I suppose.
Well, because you're being more mindful, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, granted, it can be kind of debilitating to a sense, like being like really nervous about painting something. But I think just that kind of mindset shift of when you're painting just a rank and file infantry model, you can be kind of in the headspace of like, it doesn't matter. Therefore, it doesn't matter if I make a mistake here or I put this paint on a bit too thick and so on. Maybe I'll take a little bit of a shortcut. Whereas if you've got like the nice centerpiece model, that's where you really like lock in because of that. So maybe it could be like a good thing as well.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I think it ultimately also is determined by your emotive connection to the miniature. I think if you really love a model, the sculpt or the detail, or maybe it's from the faction that you love, or whatever the case may be, I think that also could potentially be a big reservation about the fear aspect of like ruining it. And I think that you need to find a way to kind of like remove. It's really hard. Remove that emotive part of it and just concentrate on the painting, which is actually quite hard. Again, like if you've got a model that you really like, I would probably say that before you approach it, then try the color scheme or try what you're going to do on something that doesn't intrinsically have the same value as the miniature. Does that make sense? So like there's so many spare parts that come with miniatures now. You can get a shoulder pad and just paint the color scheme on there and try the colors on there and see how the paint behaves and all that kind of stuff. I think that's also part of it. But I think one of the big things is that, yeah, you're right. The models have the cost that they do. But I also think there's a huge part of it that's maybe not thought about as much because of the connection that person has with the model. You might find that one person would approach, let's say like an Orc War Boss model, for example. I'm putting random model. One person might absolutely love orcs and just go, oh, I'm really scared to actually paint that model because it's the Orc War Boss and it's the leader of my army or whatever. And another person will go, oh, I'll paint an orc for fun and I'll just grab a War Boss and paint that. Like, I think that emotive part of it is I think it balances the same as cost, but I think the emotive connection is also just as important.
I guess the third one would be time as well, because if it's particularly with larger kits, you've got a lot of like time investment to kind of get to a point where you're painting. And if you're maybe someone who doesn't have a lot of time to paint per se, if you've got kind of, like we said, like the emotive connection and the financial connection as well, then having that already like set up kind of puts you on the back foot as well. Like, I don't want to waste time on this model if it's just going to look rubbish at the end of it, which I can completely understand. What would kind of your advice be for someone who has got that fear of ruining their Warhammer?
Obviously, this is based around sort of people getting into it. Is perhaps try not to buy the coolest badass leader model that you can, because you'll be drawn to that anyway, won't you? Let's
You will
face
be,
it. When
yeah.
as soon as you go in that shop or you're looking online, you're immediately drawn to all the cool miniatures, the
Yeah.
single miniatures, right? So maybe just get some rank and file, or do I used to do just go and I had a bag of plastic ninjas, right? When I was starting to get back.
A bag of plastic
Just
ninjas.
a bag of plastic ninjas. Didn't matter what they were. Just sprayed them and just had a go at getting paint on those.
Yeah.
Just to like I think you said, was it I was on last week? Depending on the scale, the schedule and things. It's about that. That's a good disconnect because you're not really emotionally involved in those.
You said about the soldiers from like
Yeah,
pounds
you can.
of it.
Yeah, if you go and buy a bag of those plastic green and tan soldiers, if you're worried about wasting your time on a big
100%.
posh model, and you're not, you're new to painting and you're worried about putting paint on the miniatures and things, get a bag of those and just go ham on them.
Do you know what my hesitancy is with that stuff though? Is that you're painting stuff that's not necessarily super related, and therefore you've kind of set up this like other time and in part monetary investment into something that's not actually doing the thing. So it's like a substitute.
Yeah, but I'd rather waste, if I'm just getting into it, maybe I don't want to spend 30 quid on a character model and be disappointed with it at the end.
No, that's valid, but I think that maybe like a middle ground of like, there's like the starter magazine, which is super cheap. You can buy models on eBay, even on Sprue, especially from the big box sets like Rank and File. You can get like quite a lot of models for fairly cheap if you're not super picky about what models they are necessarily. I think that for me would be a better route to go down, because then you're still going to experience the very same, like cutting out the model off the sprue, putting it together, putting the paint on GW plastic that's got like nice sculpted detail in the same way.
That's another thing as well. It's like, obviously, when you first get into GW models are super detailed.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they're covered in all sorts of intricate details and trim, and it doesn't matter what model you buy, they're covered in it. So that can be another bit of a barrier to a newbie as well. If you get something a bit more simplified, especially if you're just worried about putting paint onto the miniature for the first time. It's just about building that confidence up.
I think eBay is a great place for a newbie. I think everybody, whether you're new into it or whether you're been doing it for 20, 30 years, I think everybody shops on eBay. I think there's some fantastic deals that you can get. Obviously, like, become a proficient last minute bid sniper, okay, and just pick up some great things. And if
not even just that though, because like there's people who just like get like like the new Saturnine box and just part it out, and then you can buy like 20 Marines from that.
You can buy individual. Thing is, you can buy individual minutes. There are people that do split into like individual. So if you like the new Mark II Marines, you can buy an individual one. And like, I think that's the thing. Like, I think one of the things that's very prevalent is that people, depending on which entry point you have into the industry, from when you find it or you get told about it, whatever, I think there's a lot of people that fall down the rabbit hole. And we're all guilty of it. I'm sitting here as prime culprit, suspect number one. You buy metric tons because you're all excited and like in reality, it's probably better to not do that, because the models, okay, unless you're getting into this and then buying super rare out of production old models or whatever, which doesn't really happen. It's like you're probably going to be buying current models, so like they're going to be there for a long time at the cost that they are, and you're going to be able to get them. So maybe just buying one of them and just trying it, I think is probably the best advice that you can give, because you're still kind of like letting the water self level. Like as you get into it, you get interested in it, you want to learn to paint, you want to decide on a faction or army that you really like, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, like I think eBay's a really good. You got like eBay, you got Gumtree, you've got like loads of different places.
Facebook Marketplace,
yeah.
Bit of a throwback.
Well, the stuff's still on there. Do you know what I mean? Like you can go on any of those. We've
got in the UK, we've got the apps as well, like Vinted and
you got Vinted
Depop,
as well.
still around, all those sorts of ones.
Or the best thing is Warboot. Sorry to just plug it, but it is. Like you can get an even better deal. Like a Warboot and just pick up a single model or pick up something from there, and then you can just try on that. I think
I do personally think that that's more valuable than like a bag of ninjas or army men.
I don't know. Like I love a ninja. Don't get me wrong. Like but like
I get what you mean in terms of like a real fundamental level.
Yeah, if you've got, it depends what you've got.
It's going to really depend on the model, isn't it?
I don't know. another side of it is it depends how much money you want to be spending
Exactly,
at
yeah.
the start as well. So
I would probably say that to invest more money into
your equipment,
a
maybe.
good baseline of proficient equipment that gives you the confidence. Okay, hopefully gives you the confidence, because even some people get like an expensive brush and they're worried, they're scared to paint because they want to ruin the brush. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Let's pivot that into that avenue then. So what are some things do you think are essential things to spend money on, and what are perhaps some things that people waste money on early on?
Well, the first thing, and I'm not saying this because we sell them, I'm purely saying this, but whatever you decide to buy is something that immediately will make your painting experience better, is a good light. Like 100%. Like I don't care what brushes you use or what, like what you use. I think just having a decent light, and I think that is being able to see what you're doing in the first place really well is
really helps.
Is especially with painting.
Really helps,
yeah. Like, and I don't mean irrelevant of what light it is, whether it's the onyx or whether it's like any of the other the sort of daylights that are out there, whatever. Just get a light that allows you to a white light, a natural daylight white light that allows you to actually see the colors you're painting correctly. And also, I would probably say that, like, I've seen different types of lights and stuff like that. I think anything that's a bar arm light is really good, purely because it's over you and you can get under it. When you have one of these smaller lights that you have to kind of like hunch to get under the light because it's not very tall or high or whatever, I think that causes obviously problems like later on with back pain or like, posture, all that kind of stuff. But a decent light in any way, shape, it could even be, it doesn't even need to be necessarily like a bar light or whatever. You could just get a decent set of like either lights that you screw into the ceiling or really bright, super bright lights that you put into any fixtures or things near you, just so that in general, your lighting is really good. And I think that in itself just helps with confidence, because it means that like you're not going to miss anything because of shadows being cast on the model, or you're not going to see the color correctly, all that kind of stuff. Or how many times when you painted under maybe more of a yellow light, or you're not painted under an actual light and you've painted under room lighting, you've painted it and then you've seen it another day in another light and it looks completely different. Do you know what I mean? So I think
I'll just get a headache and it hurts my back.
Well, there's that as well, But I think a light first and foremost, and then following that, I'd probably say just like a good painting set. I know we joked about obviously the Auto Extreme or whatever, but like those paint sets that like have everything, like I say everything, it has like some paints, a mold line remover, like a brush,
I do really think genuine. Obviously, we've done a little bit of research on the back of our £50 painting challenge that we done the other week, but I do genuinely think, kind of assessing the starter sets from most of the major brands at the minute, I would say that the Citadel one is probably the best in terms of not only what you get in it, but it's a really decent price as well. I think.
On the right
it was,
path,
what was it, 25 quid? 20, for less for shipping all in 25 quid. You can't go wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like,
I would say though, this might be a bit controversial. I think you should spend a decent amount of money on at least one good paintbrush, like a Kolinsky Sable brush. I think even if you're a beginner, because I think looking back, maybe not like literally the first time you sit down to paint, fair enough, but looking back, I think there was so much stuff that I was struggling with, not because I couldn't do it, but like the brush just wasn't good enough to actually pull off what I was trying to do.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's kind of this turning point where you don't know if it's a skill issue or a tool issue. And I think getting rid of that kind of doubt early on and not having that weird little middle period where you've got that, I think just like hitting the ground running with like having a nice brush there for when you need it. So I'm not saying make it like the only brush you use. Yeah. If you've got like your Citadel starter brush or like a cheap set you got off Amazon or whatever, then have like an nice size 1 or size 2 or whatever. Yeah. Just for, okay, I think on this bit over here I'm going to try some nice blends, or I'm going to try doing like a nice edge highlight or something. I'll get out the nice brush. And gives you like a little bit of practice without too much fear of just absolutely annihilating it because it's the only thing you've got. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I kind of do agree and don't agree. And I'm really torn on that. Like, I do agree because a really good brush, whatever brand, a Kolinsky with a good snap and flex on the head and good point, obviously, will give you essentially a confidence boost because the tool is very accurate. It performs really well. And you can hopefully do all the things like sharp little lines and details and stuff as you learn, obviously, pressure management and brush control. However,
no one. Well, I don't know many people, if any, like people when they first start learning to drive, that they get a Ferrari or get a Lamborghini. Do you know what I mean? And like the thing is,
I don't think that's a fair comparison.
I know what you're saying, but like the thing is there's still a risk factor when you're not used to. You're not
Of
used
course
to
there's a risk
using it.
factor,
Like
yeah.
of
Circling back to Tommy's point though, like to ruin it. Like you're gonna have. We've all ruined brushes.
Yeah, we have.
Like I'm an experienced painter, and I still ruin brushes from time to time. Like I think to a degree that's kind of going to happen.
Yes, I do, and I don't agree.
I'm not saying go out and spend like 60 quid on like a set of artist opuses when you've never painted a model before.
No.
But I think having like a nice brush like there for when you need it,
Yeah.
I do think is quite invaluable because like especially if you're that bad with the brush. If you've got a load of cheap synthetic brushes, you're going to be hooking the tip on like the second time you've ever used it.
See, I'm going to say something like I do think a lot of the like I don't have to really word this, but I think a lot of the mid-tier brushes, and when I say mid-tier, I don't mean to come across the wrong way. I think things like maybe your Army Painter brushes and your Citadel brushes and stuff like that. I do think that like for the price points that those brands have, there are a lot. You can get a lot done with them. I know plenty of people,
Especially entry level.
Yeah, I know plenty of people. We're not talking about like entering competitions or Golden Demon or like Iron Skull or whatever. Like I'm talking about like I know plenty of people that have all have used those starter brushes or those brushes for a long time and got really good results with them. And I think it's only then when you give them a Kolinsky and they use a Kolinsky that they then go, holy cow, this thing's amazing.
I mean,
Do you know
this
what
is
I'm
I mean?
not saying you can't get good results with a cheaper synthetic brush, by the way. I'm just saying I think it's nice to have that there for like if and when you need it.
Yeah, no,
and to kind of know what you're missing out on. And also to a degree, like if you're an adult painting with this stuff and it's like your own money, you're going to be careful with it. It's
No,
not
I
like
know
giving
that.
a 7-year-old
That's why I'm kind of half.
£13 brush.
That's why I'm kind of half and half on it. I'm trying to like go at this in the vein of like, yes, you could have an adult that's just getting into it, but you could also have like a youngster as well. And like, I think even as a youngster, and I'm not talking like maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I'm talking maybe someone like early teens, whatever. Like, I think that like those.
Are they listening to this podcast?
I don't know. Like those entry brushes, they still very, very good for like youngsters or even adults. I think you can get a lot of work done with them.
And on an entry level, I mean, you're going to be wanting to learn how to get your base coats and
yeah,
things
like,
for sure.
rather than dotting eyeballs.
I just want to clarify my point here that I do think there is. I'm not saying your whole brush collection needs to be like really solid, nice ones. 100%. I think if it's the first time you're painting a miniature, you should probably start out with just some cheaper brushes that you don't need to worry about.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just saying that when you've painted like, a couple of models, I would still be knocking on the door of getting one.
No, definitely, yeah. That's why I said half and half, because like a really good Kolinsky brush has a lot of value, and I think it teaches you a lot about brushes and the quality, difference in quality between sort of like different.
It's just nicer to use as well, though. Like they don't dry out as quick. You haven't got to worry about the hook tip. And
yeah,
I think you're right. You do get to a certain point where you do realise that you need a better brush to continue on with your paint.
I don't know what they're like now, but I remember knackering out Citadel brushes like there's no tomorrow, and it's like by the time you've bought 2 of them and ruined 2 of them, you could have bought 1 Kolinsky brush anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I have got a fair amount of the sort of Citadel brushes, but I tend to use those now for dry brushing small areas, thick base coats and things like that. Whereas my Rosemarine Co, which I consider an intermediate kind of brush level.
They're good.
They're not expensive.
No, but they're good. They're still good. I mean, like I use Handover Series 101s, and they're comparable. Like they're comparable to AO. They're comparable to like Rosemarine Co.
I think when you get to a certain point, the brand is just preference. I don't really think
I mean, I only got onto them because George sort of mentioned. Sort of,
maybe we can do an episode about brushes in a few weeks' time.
Definitely, that'd be good. That'd be a good episode. I mean, so I think like a good set of brushes, whatever it is you choose to go, and then I really think that like the obvious thing is paint, and like that's a deep rabbit hole. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so many brands and so many things. All that matters is that you get colors that I would probably say for someone starting out, irrelevant of brands. Because they're all the overall kind of like median average of quality in paint has increased massively over the last 3 to 5 years with brands redoing the formulas and new ranges.
Because there's lots of competition between companies.
Yeah.
So
I think there's never been a better time for options of paint. To like there's just so many options now in the industry.
There's probably as many options of paint as there are brushes.
There's like there really are, and like and the thing is like. I would probably just say just get colours that you like. I know it sounds really easy answer, but like I think just get colours either that you really like or colours that you need based on what you are going to be painting.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme of things, like there's not really a range out there now, which for me I'd go, well, I'd steer clear of that. I think I use
all of them are good enough now, aren't they, really?
Yeah, I use like the widest array of brands now when I come to think of it, like, you know.
And don't be afraid to like mix either. Like you can, we had this conversation a little while ago. I don't remember where it was. It might have been in the Discord, but this conversation of like just using one brand like per model, as if you can't use multiple brands on the same model.
I've never done. Only maybe when I started, because my first paints was the classic red Citadel starter box. Had red handle brush in it. You got a Space Marine and a Chaos Warrior in it, and
little booklet.
A little booklet. That was like my start.
10 paints.
That was literally my start, and I've still got the Space Wolf Grey for that one. But now, as I said, like I think that like you've never had really a better time to get into it for paint.
What if I told you you can easily take the basing on your miniatures to the next level? Well, now you can with the new basing range from Siege Scenics. Siege Scenics is dedicated to helping you create immersive and realistic environments for your miniatures that feel both alive and dynamic, whether you're setting the stage for your tabletop battle or telling a rich, unfolding story on a competition display. From the lush hues of summer grass to cold alien landscapes, Siege Scenics has you covered with expertly crafted and innovative products that capture the ever-changing beauty of nature and let you bring it straight to your miniatures. To see the full range and upgrade your bases, head to siegescenics.co.uk or check with your local retailer.
I'm actually going to curveball it, and I'm actually going to chuck something in that I think that I've mentioned it a few times, but I just want to put it in this episode because I think it's a nice thing to put on the wall, basically, for the episode. But I think either just a spare base or a bit of plastic card is like one of the best, cheapest things that you can get, which will help you as a painter.
Why will it help you?
Because that whole thing we're talking about, the fear, I think the fear doesn't necessarily translate to actually doing the painting. I think it's doing the painting and not being confident in what's going to happen on the model. And I think that having that spare base or a bit of plastic card where you can dilute your paint down, test your paint, and then put a swatch on or a little bit on the plastic card, which is inherently a material which behaves the same as the miniature. Okay. I think having that will really help you as a painter, because if you see the paint go on a certain way on the thing, let's just say it's too watery, you've thinned it too much or whatever. If you see it behave and not be opaque and not cover really well on the plastic card or the base, that's going to almost prompt you to go, oh, it's too thin, I'll put some more paint into it and then I'll try it again. I think
so walk me through this, right? So you're painting, you've diluted you thinned down your paint on your palette.
Yep.
You've got the brush in your hand, you've got the model in your hand. You're saying before you actually touch it on the model,
I think you're not even holding the model, dude. I think you just put a bit of paint,
just practice
put a bit of paint on the palette, okay? Because like hopefully you'll both agree with me when I say this, but dilution is like muscle memory, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm getting there. I'm learning.
Yeah.
That.
So you'll when you pick, I don't know, when I pick, I'm going to shoot. When I pick 70950, which is a black that I use or whatever, like when I pick that paint up and put it on the palette, I, through muscle memory and repetition of usage, know how much moisture or water to put into it to get it.
Right, because you've used it so many times, you know how thick it is out the pot.
I can go, cool, okay, well, I know I need to put this much in to get it to this opacity, or if I'm glazing, I need to put this much, or if I'm just using it as a pseudo wash for metallics or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the biggest fears that painters have when they're painting, is that they're going to mix it or thin it wrong, put it on the model, and it's like, oh, I can't sort it. And I know, touching back to Tommy's episode, it's like, oh, just paint and don't have fear. And I get that totally. But I think for the cost ROI, a bit of plastic card or a base, the return on investment that you get from just going, cool, I've thinned the paint a bit, I'm just going to put a bit on this plastic card or this spare GW base or model base or whatever, see how it behaves, see what it does. And then if that's almost like your tick for you to know that it's how it needs to be.
Can I suggest a streamline for this then? So if you've got a model and it's like already stuck to the base, maybe you're using that as a hold or something, I would say before you actually touch the model, just do a quick brush stroke on the base.
Correct, yeah.
That it's already stuck to.
Yeah.
Before you've put your texture and your sand on there, obviously.
I mean, every painter's got about 50 million stripes all along their hands when they're painting.
Yes, I mean I do paint on my hands quite a bit, and I do it when I'm wearing gloves, or sometimes I paint a lot while I'm not. When
It's
I'm not
normally
wearing
to
gloves.
remove paint excess rather than practice the brush
test the
stroke.
paint. Yeah, but the thing is, also some people maybe don't like putting the paint on their skin, which is fair enough. You know,
Yeah, I wear gloves.
You know,
personally,
but what I was going to say was like I think that as a singular thing for minimal investment. I mean, even you said like the models come with a base, so you could just use that, and then you're going to put base and material over it anyway. But I think that's the biggest thing that I would probably say for new painters is like have somewhere to test, because it gets rid of that fear of that worry of, oh, it's wrong, it's too thick, what is it? You know, you kind of need somewhere to learn that muscle memory of dilution. And where better to do that on something that emulates the model?
We did, like, I mean, I've mentioned this so many times. Use the sprue.
Yeah,
it's the same plastic as
it's
the
great
model.
for edge highlighting. For practicing edge highlighting and the pressure.
Just paint a little bit along the side of the sprue if you need,
100%. Yeah,
go on that. If you,
and do you know what? Like sprues have got loads of different cool shapes on them. So they've got like obviously
Can I say as well with the base? Talking about Citadel ones in particular, obviously they're slightly textured on the top.
Yeah.
If you've got a decent enough size one, if you flip it upside down, it's smooth on the bottom.
Yeah, or just sand half of it as well. I think the only other real thing is this. The other aspect, the other pillar of this, we've done painting, we've done obviously that kind. I think just building and cleaning. I think a decent glue, a really sharp Stanley blade, or like a X-Acto scalpel, whatever you choose to use, and then some form of sanding stuff. So like Tamiya sanding foam or the Display foam that we like or whatever.
I think we've done episodes on this before. Like if you're already starting on the back foot if you've not put the model together well.
100%.
And it's so easy to overlook because you're going, I'm learning to paint a miniature, and you kind of just skip this bit where you put it together.
Well,
and I think people kind of look at it as like you've either built it or you haven't. And there are, much as there are varying qualities of paint job, there are various qualities of assembly.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you've got like a really nice, pristine, well cleaned model that's been undercoated nicely, it's always going to look better, even with the exact same paint job on it. The one that's got mold lines showing, little bits of sprue, little dimples where you've cut too close to the plastic and it's left a scar, like things like that. I think investing some time, effort, energy, and practice into building and putting the model together, I do think is really important.
I do agree completely, and like again, like it is a lot of people worry about building models and like maybe that they're not going to build them correctly or they're super expensive. I put too much glue in it, it splurges out all over the model, that kind of stuff. And I think that's just something to just again like that's where you can't really use a bit of plastic card or can't really use anything else. You've got to build the model to make the model. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things. But like just I would probably, starting out, I would put more time and effort into getting competent and proficient with building the models really well, whilst using something like the plastic card or bases to practice learning the muscle memory of paint dilution. But blue tack is a great thing, and I and it's another thing that I would say that like often people get really super excited to build the model because they see the box art, they get excitement of buying it, taking it home, etc. But like, just seeing how the bits go together and like where the contact points are kind of will, preempt where you put the glue and how much you put on so you don't cause too much, or where the seam lines are, maybe where you do need to smooth with some sanding foam or something. Like I think
dry fitting is really
dry
important.
fitting and like with blue tack and that kind of stuff is really important. Like the models aren't as posable as they used to be. So one of the saving graces of that is that you can kind of look at box art models and you can kind of see the poses that are in, you can kind of see how the parts kind of go together, and like you haven't got to worry of like, because I remember one of the things that people maybe didn't like so much about the ball and socket wastes on the older models is that you'd put a bit of glue on, you'd put the torso on the legs, and then you'd step away, and all of a sudden the body would slide and it would move and then set itself like as if he's doing a limbo or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things just as a newbie is like, just take pride in your building and just get that.
Yeah. Remind me about that later. I've got a hobby hack for that.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys, I quite like being on the podcast because I consider myself like the newbie to the hobby, and you guys are the pros, right? So you always attack everything from professional level.
Is that
Which
bad?
is-
Is that bad? Sorry.
Listening as a newbie, it's like, it's so overwhelming. I've got so much to think about.
Yeah.
Right. I've got to do this. I've got to make sure my mold lines are off. I've got to do this. I've got to stick it to the base. I've got to build a base. I've got to make sure all the little bits are off. I've got to make sure it fits in the right way. Then I've got to do this and I've got to do that. I've got to make sure I've got the right brushes. I've got to make sure I've got the right paints. I've got to make sure I've primed it properly and all the rest of it. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately, if you're just getting into it, firstly, don't spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because you might decide in 3 months' time, it's the painting side of it isn't for me, or whatever.
Well, also your preferences will probably change, and you'll find you've bought a lot of the wrong stuff.
Well, I don't think that really matters when you first start. What I would suggest, for me, it was like, go and get something get something cool. All right, by all means, get something cool and just put it together and just paint it, and then from there, perhaps decide how you want to progress. Yeah. If you want to get better at painting, then start thinking about better builds and all the rest of it. If you're overloaded with trying to remember everything on your first one, then or first 2 or 3 or whatever, it's going to start. It's making it a chore already before you've even begun, and you've taken the fun out of it before you've even got it out the box.
Do you know? I think one of the I don't want to say negatives, but one of the things about starting now is the ocean of miniature painting is way deeper and way broader than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because you just get the box, a starter paint set, and you'd paint the model that comes in there.
That's right. Yeah.
You'd experience everything through painting that, and then you progress from there. Nowadays, I mean, George, you're a testament to this. You got into this and instinctively, because of the generation that you are, you jump on YouTube, you search painting Warhammer, and you're presented with a whole host of videos, all saying different things and maybe some conflictions or whatever. And I've got to be honest, from my humble beginnings in this to how it is now, it's totally different.
It's hard to know if it's a good or a bad thing. I would say in terms of the output that I'm seeing, I'd say it's probably a good thing, because beginners now, the paint jobs that I see look fantastic.
Yeah.
However, I'm mindful of what you don't see, and I wonder how many people fall at that hurdle because they're so overwhelmed with information. They either never finish it, or they get led astray by a video that gave some misinformation and they gave up or whatever. So it's hard to kind of benchmark, because it's the ones that make it through, it's obviously benefited, but it's hard to know how many people got held up at that first gate because it's so overwhelming.
I think
now.
as well, you got that there's that whole thing, expectation versus reality thing as well, that you see quite often now, which is one of the negatives of, new people coming into it, because obviously, you've both said, that you're awash with all these awesome things that everybody's painting online, and then you can't do that straight out the bat. Whereas when I was younger, 14, 15, whatever, sat there, stood at my bedroom windowsill painting plastic ninjas, right? I was terrible at it, but I didn't have all this peer pressure from everybody else to be good.
Yeah, I would say that's something else. I mean, for me, it was just
myself trying to sort of navigate my own way through the hobby.
I'd either look at White Dwarf, and but I don't know if White Dwarf is like social media now.
Definitely not.
There were great paint jobs in White Dwarf, don't get me wrong, but you also had people that maybe weren't as good at painters that had articles about their army they're collecting or whatever, and you could look through White Dwarf and definitely see different levels of quality or execution or ability, should I say. Whereas now, I'd probably say that a lot of the stuff that you see is what people consider the best thing they've painted, and the reality of that is you are then peppered with all this stuff. So maybe don't go on social media when you start.
I do think it's a class, it's in moderation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's good to seek out a good few videos, and there's tons of great videos on YouTube for how to paint miniatures, especially as a beginner. There's obviously our tutorials as well, our Patreon and all that good stuff.
I think as long as you can
take it for what it is. Still spend time. I've said it a whole bunch of times on the show. There's no substitute for doing the thing. You're either doing it or you're not. And watching videos is not the same as doing it.
Yeah,
So watch them, learn from them, and then practically apply it.
Yeah.
Don't skip that bit because it's so easy to go down and, okay, I'm not going to start painting my model until I've watched 15 tutorials on how to paint that model from start to finish in the specific color scheme that I like. And I've gone online and I've bought every single specific paint from the paint list at the start of the video.
Yeah.
Like, don't put obstacles up. Watch some stuff, learn, apply it, experiment on your own, find your own way of doing things.
I think as well, it's important as another very early skill is to be able to manage disappointment.
Yeah.
Because you are going to be disappointed.
100%.
I mean, I've been more disappointed than I have been over the moon with something I've painted, and that's just because that's what happens, isn't it? When you're new, there's obviously seen all this great stuff, and then yours doesn't match. You've got to be able to get past that sort of disappointment hurdle, I suppose, and keep going at it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. Yeah. No, I think we covered a good few angles there. Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. I'd be interested to hear, particularly from people who have started even more recently than myself.
Be interesting to see how they're getting on.
And if you are a new painter, please ask your questions in the comments, and hopefully ourselves and some of the community members can reply and help you out. Yeah. As miniature painters, we all know how important it is to have good quality tools, brushes, and paints. But if you want to improve your miniatures, none of those items matter if you can't properly see what it is you're painting in the first place. That's why one of the most important upgrades I've ever made to my miniature painting setup was my Onyx painting lamp from Native Lighting. Its incredibly bright 2200 lumen, dimmable LEDs cast soft and diffuse light on my workspace. Plus, its highly adjustable articulating arm allows me to finally sit in the perfect painting position for hours on end without any aches or strain. And its daylight colour balance temperature of 6500K gives you the confidence that the colours you're painting on your miniatures are true to life and your miniatures will pop on the tabletop. To upgrade your setup to the professional grade equipment that we rely on here at the studio, head to siegestudios.co.uk/shop or check the link in this episode's description. Should we move on to... no, let's do the monthly challenge first. So if you're not familiar, we do monthly painting challenges in the Siege Studios Discord, which is completely free and linked down below. And every single month we have a different theme and a different pun name to go with it. And we round them up at the end of the month, and then we go through all the submissions, and we'll do the one for next month as well. So in August, it was hashtag August. Taugust.
Yeah.
Just whack a T and an apostrophe at the front of August. It works. I think that's one of the better ones.
I suppose it does work if you try real hard.
If you see it written down, it looks better than saying it.
Yeah.
It's not the worst one, but it's not the best one.
No, medium one.
That's difficult though, August, isn't it?
The idea was not just to paint anything Tau, but anything like mech related, if you see what I mean. Anything in that variety, just as long as it's not a Space Marine or a Dreadnought. So we're going to round up.
It's going to be full of Space Marines and Dreadnoughts.
Well, there was a couple. We're going to go through some of the submissions now. I will say just a note verbally as well. We get so many submissions now, it's very, very difficult to actually feature all of them on the show. So what we're trying to do now is just kind of pick out a couple of them and showcase them. But like I said, please have a look at what everyone has submitted on the channel, on Discord, link down below. So apologies if you haven't been featured, but I promise you we are looking at them. And we want you to keep submitting for them every single month. The idea for these is to hopefully help you improve as a painter, paint a variety of different things as well.
Not just Dreadnoughts.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
James, you want to give us your favourite first?
Yes. A severely sharp-looking Riptide by Elgonidus. What an amazing miniature. Basing's really cool as well. Dead Terminator on the base. Absolutely love that. Just a fantastic miniature. And like fair play for all that edging. That's a lot of edges.
Yeah, really clean though.
Really clean, really sharp. Love the little free-handed Tau Sept symbols and stuff like that. Just really, really good. So yeah, well done. Top stuff.
Very nice.
Nice one. Paul?
Okay, well, I always like to pick the slightly odd, different anyway. I say different. I won't say odd, but different. I've gone for obscurage. And his, I think there's obviously sort of marker pieces for Kill Team and things like that. But it's the sort of destroyed drones.
You never see that before. That's really cool, actually.
I mean, that's why as soon as I saw it, I thought, yep, they're cool. I like those. I like that idea. It's great, isn't it? People thinking slightly differently than normal.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool.
That's what we like to see with these challenges, isn't it?
Especially with like the sort of the battle damage on them and the heat there from the obviously being blasted and stuff. Great.
Yeah, really cool.
Really cool.
Very usable as well.
Obscurage.
I've gone for Shenderman, who has painted I don't know what it's called, but it's a Gundam kit And
God
I
damn.
thought, one, this is super cool, just objectively, look at him. But two, I thought it was nice, again, like you said, Paul, mixing it up
Yeah, totally different.
with the challenges. I like these as well, because it's a masterclass in pin shading.
Yeah.
I like the recess shading in all of the...
I can just picture
panels.
that pin, sort of the liquid just flying around all the,
Oh,
the
yeah.
recesses.
Oh, yeah, for
that
sure.
sort of thing. And I'll tell you what, it's not a dreadnought.
It's not a dreadnought, so
Yeah.
bonus
Well done,
points as well from myself.
Yeah.
I'll mention it.
+2 on all your dice rolls for the next month.
I'll mention it at some point in the future. We'll circle back. But I actually recently bought a Gundam kit as well, so I'll be delving into that world.
Well, twice now on this one episode.
Well, massive thank you for everyone once again in the Discord for submitting for Taugust. If you want to participate in the next monthly painting challenge, like I said, Discord linked below, and September is Septemplar.
Oh God.
So anything Templar-esque. I'll take some old school knights and whatnot. Maybe
Take
you
a
can,
dreadnought.
We'll see. That's on the user. We've obviously got some Space Marines themed ones thrown in there, but if you can break outside the box, all the better.
Yeah.
I suppose you could somehow the Templar theme is more the point, I think. So see what you can do with that. We look forward to rounding those up next month. That'll be at the beginning of October. We'll review all of those. To round out the show, Hobby Hacks, segment where we feature a little quick tip for you that you can implement into your hobby if you're listening along while you're at your desk. This was in relation to what you were saying earlier, James, about the old school ball and socket joints.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I would say not just the old school ones. I guess there's still quite a lot of kits that have like posable socket and joint connections, if you like.
Especially on the bigger kits.
I remember a lot of the Limbo Marines when they
Yeah.
were
Great.
they were like over the place.
Yeah, I made quite a few of those. At least a whole squad.
They're all raving.
Yeah, looking at the sky.
So my tip for this, and this is kind of you can extrapolate this into kind of kits that are a bit heavier as well, like where, you got to sit and like hold the parts together for too long and you're worried about it drooping. That's kind of the core of it. So when you're gluing things together and you want them to be strong, typically we say to use plastic cement because you're actually fusing the parts together chemically, much stronger connection than something like super glue, which is quite brittle. However, the downside of plastic cement is it takes quite a long time to dry. My go-to in these scenarios is the combo move. All right. So what I do,
Jab uppercut.
what I'll do is take plastic cement the whole area, but just leave one tiny little spare space and just put a tiny little dot of super glue on there. And then when you press the parts together, the super glue will dry really quickly, which temporarily sort of pins the parts together. And then the plastic cement has got time to dry without it falling apart.
And chemicals combined. That's what you're doing.
Great
With the
shout.
different glues.
Yeah.
Great shout.
It definitely works. I do it all the time.
Yeah. That's perfect. Top stuff. Yeah.
Normally I'm expecting some sort of bounce back
don't know,
and you
I-
rip me to
I don't
shreds.
know.
I agree.
I don't know.
It's solid.
Maybe. I don't know. I would never have thought
Might
of
be a
doing that.
podcast first where I give a tip and James agrees with it.
It's solid.
Good
yeah,
tip.
it's good. It's
I don't
solid.
know. I would never have thought of doing that. I'll just hold the bit for 5 minutes until it's kind of...
Takes ages.
Does it? 5 minutes? A couple of minutes? Does it? I mean,
wanna
it's
get
just-
onto other stuff?
I mean, the glue. I use the old Revel glue, with a needle on it. I'm sure it says on there to leave before you put the bits together to leave it for about 30 seconds or whatever, so you get the chemicals to react and then smush them.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It just speeds things up. I think especially as well, like I said though,
You're an Instagram generation. That's what it is. Everything instantly.
it can be really helpful though if you've got like sometimes you've got
Sure.
a multiple, think like a vehicle, like a Tau battle suit, something quite large.
Yeah.
You've got like multiple parts that you might have to glue together simultaneously and you haven't got enough hands. It can kind of help just kind of get things
Yeah.
more stable so that you can glue them properly.
Yeah.
If
Gives you
like.
more time to take another bite of the jam sandwich, doesn't it?
Gives you more time to scroll through Instagram.
Yeah. 2 more TikToks. Come on.
Okay, should we round up the show there?
Sure.
We're going to jump over now to the post show, which is a benefit for our patrons. So if you want to get access to the extended versions of this podcast, we do an additional 20 to 30 minutes every single week. And you'll also gain access to our extended masterclass tutorials, a whole bunch of PDFs, all sorts of other good stuff. We've got something cool in the post show this week. I'm going to just allude to it off camera. We've got the mystery box.
Wow.
So we're going to find out what's inside.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Otherwise, a massive thank you for listening to this week's episode of Paint Perspective, and we will see you next week. Right,
you
ready,
guys.
Paul? What's in the box?
This is so good. Okay, so we got
Absolutely sick. That is sick.
That's the only videos I ever see of these things crashing and being obliterated.